everyone. Welcome to The Composer's Life. I'm Nadia, your host, and today I will be interviewing Esther Ling, who is a composer and songwriter from Canada. Welcome to the podcast, Esther.
Hi, Nadia. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Very excited to chat. Yeah.
Yay! I am too. So, we have quite a bit to chat about today, and I really liked because you emailed me and told me that you actually were not starting out in music, but you decided to change career paths basically and pursue music. So, I would love to start kind of before you did music, what you were doing, and if you were doing music in the background, and kind of what led you to start doing it.
Yeah, of course. Yes, my journey in music is quite unconventional. As a child, I started music lessons, piano lessons at the age of 6. So I did that throughout my childhood, pretty much up until my last year in high school, and did the whole conservatory certifications and whatnot. And then at 17 years old, life took a different path for me. I was born and raised in Malaysia, and so my parents at the time decided that I would go to Canada to, pursue the next phase of education. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So yeah, then that's how I came to Canada, and I studied engineering. Right, life took music left me for a while there, just because it was just adjusting to the new life by myself and trying to get through school. And so I did that. I studied engineering for 4 years. And then after that, I worked as a professional engineer for a few years. And, I had a little keyboard that I had once I was, able to save up money to buy a little digital piano for myself. And I was just doing it as a hobby and just learning songs again on my own. And then motherhood came, right? So I resigned from my job and decided to settle down and have a family. And so that was pretty much a big part of the last 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So music actually formally came back to me when my daughter was 4 years old. And she's a very, creative, artistic child. And she really reminded me a lot about myself when I was young, and she expressed interest in music. And so, okay, we were shopping one day and we saw this cheap digital piano, and we thought, okay, let's get this for the kids for Christmas. It'll be nice addition to our home. We had moved around a lot, so it was nice to have the piano in the home. And then so I started teaching her piano, and then because there was interest in the neighborhood for piano lessons to other kids.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, I let's do this. I can share my knowledge and teach piano music to children. So that's kind of how I sort of started back into music. And then when my kids were in school full time, I decided to go back and study music. I was like, you know what? Like, I have all this time now in the day.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I can't really go back to work full time because I've just been out of the job industry, the work industry for so long. And I still need to care for my young children when they get home. And I was like, I'll go back and study something. And I decided to pick music. I've always dreamt to be a music student. I've always envied people who could go to university and
Mm-hmm.
really learn all those cool stuff and play in cool concerts and things like that. And it's an opportunity that I never had as a young adult. And so I was like, okay, let's do this. There's a local college here. They have a music program. They were just coming out of COVID, so the college opened their doors again to have in-person classes. So I was like, okay, I'll apply into it. And yeah, that's kind of how things got going. And I learned so much in the 2-year music performance diploma that was offered there, and networked and met people in the music community there at the city that I was living in. And that's kind of how it all kind of started. And that all just started 4 years ago, so it's pretty fresh. And ever since, I've just been growing my own music scene. I've been
Cool.
writing music. I learned songwriting, and I learned how to market myself as well. And then I've just been sharing my work and reaching out to ensembles and choir directors who are, okay to working with me, and it's been really fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's such a cool story. I love that. I haven't interviewed that I can remember. I haven't interviewed someone I think that has a family and has had all of that life experience and then decide to go into music. So I really value that perspective. I think having you on the podcast is nice.
Oh, thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, I do tell people that, yeah, it's very unconventional, and they're like, oh, and they do ask the same question, like, why do you come back to music? So yeah, it's been a very interesting journey for myself as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I can imagine. And it's much different, I think it's fair to say, for women than men. In motherhood, in having a career, it's gonna look different
Yes.
as well. So I think having your perspective is very valuable for people to listen to.
Yeah, for sure. Hmm.
So let's go back to when you were 17. So you studied at a conservatory and everything during high school, basically?
It was just piano lessons from a neighborhood teacher, but she was, yeah. But I was going through the conservatory syllabus and taking the examinations. And in Malaysia, the music board that we go through for the examinations is the ABRSM. Um, yeah, I think they're still called the ABRSM, I believe, right? In the UK, or
I
no?
am not familiar
Oh,
yet.
okay, that's okay. No worries. Yeah, but I think it is still like it's just been what 30 years. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's kind of what I went through. So yeah, it was just private lessons with a piano teacher, and I did the whole classical training, and then yeah, and then I came to Canada, and then yeah, it was just all kind of put in the back for a bit. Yeah.
yeah, so was it a shock for you when your parents said they wanted you to go to Canada, or were you kind of like, did you see it coming? What was that like?
Nope, I did not see it coming. It was just like, yeah, let's do some, assessment tests because, the syllabus was very different in Malaysia. We studied everything in a different language. And then all of a sudden, coming to the West, everything's in English. So we had to go through like a little assessment, yeah, exams and
For
stuff.
English and
So it's
everything?
just like, yep, yeah, you got to sit for this test and then we'll see. And then I was like, okay. So I guess I passed or whatever. I don't know. And then it was, a group that they had a representative, and then there were students from Malaysia, students from Singapore, and students from Indonesia. And then so those students who had met the assessment criteria, then we would follow this representative into Canada to do again like the last senior year of high school, so like grade 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we had we had to like do that in 7 months just to get the
Oh
certification.
my gosh.
Yeah, sit for the diploma, high school diploma examination in Canada. Using those results, then you can apply directly into a Canadian university. So yeah, it was stressful.
Oh my gosh. Were you upset? Were you happy? Or were you just like, okay?
I think, looking back, it was exciting. At 17, you're like, wow, this is a new life.
Yeah.
And I think, there's definitely mixed emotion because I've never been away from home ever. And all of a sudden I'm crossing oceans.
Yeah.
Like it's really far from Malaysia to Canada. It's like I would say like a 30-hour like plane journey trip, just to get in. And yeah, so it was exciting and nervous and challenging. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And were you familiar with English before you came? I mean, I know you had to do the tests and stuff, so
Yeah.
how was your English? And then was it hard to move somewhere that was English speaking?
I think the spoken part was okay because in Malaysia, the like even though we learned the subjects and topics in a different language, we still had the subject of English that we had to learn. I mean, we used to be a British colony, so That's where the influences came. So it wasn't too bad, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, because I speak English at home as well with my parents.
So it wasn't a shock to the system or anything. It
Yeah,
was just, yeah.
yeah. It was just trying to get used to new rules,
Oh, yeah.
new ways of explaining things, new ways of saying stuff, and
Yeah. Because I guess you'd probably have your own kinds of phrases and stuff in
yes,
Malaysia for things. Yeah, that
yep,
makes sense.
yeah, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay, and then you came to Canada and became an engineer. So during all of that time, did you ever think about music again, or were you kind of like, oh, I guess that's just like a childhood thing I was doing. Now I'm doing this, or
Yeah, I think during that time I was just so absorbed into trying to survive. um, I think music, like looking at music as a career, it never actually dawned on me that I could do all these things at my age. I thought that it was just that's over, right? Like because I never had that opportunity to use in my youth to continue on from those conservatory lessons that I had as a child. I never had a chance to kind of take it further. So yeah, I never thought I would be able to do music as a career.
yeah.
And it was just really interesting that once I became a mom, and that passion came back to play music again, and so and then being able to take that education again as an older adult going into college again. I think that was really when I realized I can actually do this even at this age, like
Yeah,
like why not.
that's so cool. I love it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really beautiful as well that like your children and their childhoods is what kind of brought you back to music. I think that's really sweet.
Yes, yeah. So I'm really grateful for that, and yeah, and it inspired me in ways that sometimes, yeah, you kind of wonder, wow, that's really really nice.
Yeah.
Mm.
So when you went to school, was it a conservatory that you went to? Sorry, I don't know why I keep thinking
Oh,
conservatories.
so yeah, they it was a college that offered a diploma program. They had like a music division, I guess. And so when I went, actually, this is a story that yeah, it's been a while since I talked about this. So I applied for a 2-year diploma program, performance diploma program, and it was in piano. And even though it was, they had classical, jazz, and I think classical and jazz. That was the big one. But they didn't offer. Oh, composition was the other one. Yes, classical, jazz, and composition. But they didn't offer the jazz and composition anymore. So I was like, oh dang, because actually that was really what I wanted to do. I mean, I've done the classical stuff. I wanted to learn something new, but they didn't offer it. So I was like, okay, that's okay. I'm just grateful to be here. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then a year into the program, they decided to close the music. Yeah,
Oh,
the music division. Yes. Well, for reasons because of, low enrollment. There was only 5 of us that enrolled that year. So,
wow.
but to be fair, I think, just coming out of COVID, I think it was really tough for them to kind of get back on their feet.
Mm.
But yeah, it was a really sad thing to the community, and they decided to close it. And I was frustrated because I felt like my dreams were crushed.
Yeah.
Doing all this, attending classes and doing master classes and everything, and all of a sudden, yeah, in a year they're just like, "Yep, we're not continuing." And where do I go from here? Like I invested money and time into this, so I being me, I decided to fight for my rights. Like,
Nice.
I need this you need to compensate me. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
19 years old where I can just go to another city, to another college and continue on from there. Like, this is important to me. What can you do for me? I have a family here, and I want to finish this. This is my goal. And so it took some time, and with the help of my mentors, my teachers who were there, which was really sad. They lost their jobs, right? Like just like that. And they helped me talk to the college, and then so that they agree, okay, for this last year, we will pay for whatever that you're doing, but you have to figure out all of this on your own. So I had to pretty much come up with my own curriculum that's like alternative, but kind of matching what used to be at the program, like, filling up my masterclass hours, taking lessons from another instructor or teacher somewhere. So I had to go figure all of this out, and thankfully I was able to. And yeah, so that's how I.
So it wasn't an easy start back into things.
No,
It was a
no.
fight.
I thought it was going okay for a year, and then all of a sudden, boom! I was faced with this challenge. But in a way, I looked at it was really a blessing in disguise, because um, in that last year where I had to figure things out myself, I was able to work with so many different music groups, and that gave me real life uh, experience. Working with a choir, working with a jazz ensemble, and yeah, just meeting people from outside of what would be an educational institutional program. I think that gave me really good learning and good experience to kind of graduate from all of that, and finding work myself and doing things that would help grow my portfolio as I move on from it, right? So it was really tough, but I think it was good learning. Definitely good experience.
They really did throw you into the real world.
Yes. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you finished your degree, and then what were your thoughts going into music? Like, were you thinking that you wanted to do songwriting? Were you just planning on lessons? Where was your head at?
So when I completed it, I definitely wanted to continue my songwriting. Um, I'm so glad that I was able to take this course before the college closed the music program, because I was really looking for ways to learn writing music, composing, and so songwriting really opened up a whole new world for me. I was like, oh, you can actually do this. This is how songwriting works. This is how artists write songs and record songs and stuff. I was like, wow. It really opened up my mind, my eye to everything. And so then I decided to put out my first single, and that's kind of how things took off. I wrote my single. I was like, this is a song. I want to release it. I was like, okay, what do I do from here?
Yeah.
So then, you write a song, and it takes a lot to promote as an artist or a composer or whatever, because we're often, when you write music, and like you said, I think you pointed it out before in our chat earlier, that we are often in a world. We're not often on stage like a performing artist where we're always being seen. Our world's kind of a little bit more like not as known, kind of yeah, a little secretive and whatnot. But and I think that's it's important to know that we can talk about our work. We can share the behind the scenes, and people actually want to know. People actually want to know, like, how do you write music? I think that even for me, like, I was like, I was looking for that knowledge, and there isn't much out there, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. hmm
So what did you do to promote your first single?
so for me, I decided that I would invest in training because when it comes to social media and everything that comes with it, the digital marketing tools, I was also at a loss. It was overwhelming, and I'm like, how do I do this all by myself?
Mm.
It's hard. And so I decided to take the time and really invest in working with somebody that I trust and I know that can teach me how to do these things. And fortunately, before that, I had connected with a classical pianist that did a concert in the city. She was visiting a city and she did a concert. And so I connected with her. I talked to her for a bit after the concert, and then I followed her content on Instagram. And I was like, this is really cool. She's a classical concert pianist, And then she's also, at this time, she was building her mentoring program for classical musicians to learn how to market and network and, talk about their work and get gigs.
Mhm.
And she also put out an album of songs. So she was also writing music and
Wow.
recording. She put out an album of praise music. So I was just like, this is amazing. You know what? Can I learn all of this from you? So then I reached out to her. I was like, okay, because there's a time crunch. I was, I needing to release a song on this date. I need to do a one-on-one training with you. Show me all your secrets and your tips and tricks. You need to show me what to do. And I think looking back, that was the best decision I ever made for my learning because it really showed me the whole business side of learning how to communicate yourself as an artist, yourself as a musician. Yeah. So that was really when I started taking social media and digital marketing seriously. So yes.
I think the hard part about being an artist is the fact that you just want to create all the time, but you have to present yourself as a business and have those business skills along with the creating skills. It's a lot.
Yes, yeah. And it's you need the time to practice your craft and your art, and it's challenging when you have to figure out how to, talk about your work and,
Definitely.
and pitch or, negotiate stuff. And yes, so that's why I felt that that was a really good decision that I made, and learning that after in session, then you have to put into practice, right? Because if you don't follow up with whatever you've learned, and it's very quick to fall behind because the trends, well, I wouldn't say trends, but like just the way social media has evolved in our lives and people are using it, for their online platforms or their business. It's just always changing. So it's tough, I would say. It's yeah.
So now where you're at and with everything you're doing, what does how do you balance it all, like the business side with the creative side? What does day to day look like for you?
Yeah, good question. It's the
I'm just gonna
balance.
interrupt you because you also still have kids as
Yes,
well.
no, yes, I will talk about that. Yeah, it's what has worked for me is just planning it into my schedule. I have to set a timer. Setting a timer is very effective. So, in my day to day, I wake up, get the kids ready and for school, and my work usually starts after, right? When they're off to school, I'm home, it's quiet. I have a quiet breakfast, and then I spend about 10 minutes doing free writing. This is part of my songwriting practice. And I just free write about anything, any subject, any topic, and I just write and then I put it away. So I tried that, and then after that, I go to the piano to practice music. Sometimes I would write music, but um, I'm actually not a very disciplined when it comes to like sitting down and churning up like full pieces of work.
Mhm.
I will admit that, but
I think everyone's creation process looks different
different, hey.
too. Because, like, I would say my goal every day is obviously to write something.
Hmm.
Does that happen? No. But when I do it, it's really good, like a good thinking session, you know what I mean? And
Yes, yeah,
I think that part of being a creative person and being an artist is that's also what your life looks like. And for me personally, having a structured day and making it look the same every day is very hard because I want it's like writing a piece of music. Like it
yeah,
comes when it comes, you go with the flow, and that's kind of the interesting part of balancing being a creative person, I think. It's like you hear this advice and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to have this structure and it needs to look like this because that's what all these people do and that's what business people do." And then when the reality comes, I'm like, that doesn't inspire me though. That doesn't make me feel inspired and have ideas. So I think it's okay. That's all to say. I think that's okay. It doesn't have to
Oh,
look, you
yeah.
know, like everyone else's way of doing things.
I love what you said. I actually relate a lot to that, and you're right. Like it doesn't happen like that for me, and because I only have a limited time to like really sit at the piano and do work.
Hmm.
By lunchtime, I have lunch, and then after that, I have to get back to my day job. I guess I have to prepare meals for the family because once evening hits, when the kids come back from school,
Hmm.
that's it. I'm busy with their after school activities, and I just don't have that structure to in the evenings to do it. So my time in the days is limited. But I would say, like you say, with the flow and with creativity and inspiration, I feel for me, and perhaps this is true for many other composers, like yourself as well, that it comes at different points in the day. And for me, I don't know why it does. It always comes when I'm driving, or I'm putting the a pot of water on the stove to boil, and I'm just waiting for it to boil, or I'm cutting something, and I'm like, oh, there it is.
Hmm.
And so my process is very ad hoc, but when it comes, um I have to quickly capture it, and so I capture it all on my phone with the voice memo, and I have this little library of like little clips and stuff.
That's exactly what I do. It is so
Oh,
refreshing to talk to you. I love
yeah.
all of the interviews I've done, but a lot of them I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I need to change that this way I do things and this thing and this thing." But talking to you, I'm like, "Oh, me too. Perfect." It's so nice.
I'm so glad. Yeah, so
Yay.
that's what happens to me, and I'm like, do people do this? Is this weird? But then
Yeah.
I just collect it because I don't have time to just sit down and go and write it out. Maybe I do if I'm at the piano, then I have to go to the piano and record like a certain chord progression or whatever that I'm hearing, or a melody riff or whatever. But usually, most of the time, I'm singing into
Mhm.
my phone. And yeah, and then at a later time when there's a little bit more of a an urge to like, okay, I need to get this out, then I would refer back to those ideas that I have
Mhm.
captured. And that's why I like working on projects. My music creation works are more of a project kind of basis, because that forces me to be disciplined. I'm like, yes, I have to spend this next 2 hours just working on
I have to.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I'm again, same. I'm that's why I like doing film scoring and collaborating on projects where I'm doing the music side of it because I finish the music. I do it in a certain amount of time, and I also really like what it forces me to write because if I just sat down at the piano, I would not produce what I do for a short film about a vampire, like that's going to be a completely
Yeah,
different sound. So,
yeah.
so in promoting yourself, kind of growing your audience and everything, what are some things that you think could help people to know through your experience?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, definitely. It's a great question. Like one of the two things that I think that would be really helpful starting out is to invest in the education and training. Find someone to be your mentor. And really see, because it takes and I think it's like that in any kind of industry, to be able to see somebody that can do it and has been successful doing it, and really just learning from them. Spend some time to learn the marketing side of trying to brand your music. It's important to learn how to communicate your work, and especially as independent artists and composers like ourselves, we don't have a team behind us, right? So I think spending time to learn that is very crucial, very helpful, and that's what has helped me gain the confidence to talk about my work, talk about myself, to people in any situations, right? It serves, like when you learn how to brand yourself as an artist, as a musician, you can tell your story very effectively, and people connect with stories. You know, I was giving a workshop to the Association of Canadian Women Composers,
Hmm.
and yeah, and that's what we talked about, because you know the women composers there had the same questions, right? Like how do I go about this, and what do I need to put out there? And I think the most important thing to know and understand first is yourself, your brand. What, you know, what kind of music do you write? Yes, but who are you, and you know, what do you do, and very importantly, what do you want people to do after listening to your story? That's a very key point that, you know, a lot of us miss, right? We can talk about our work ourselves all the time and to whoever, but if you don't tell people what you want them to do with it, right? Do
Mm.
you want them to get the tickets to your concert? Do you want to them to collaborate with you? Whatever, like, you know, that needs to be communicated effectively. And I think that it's important to learn how to communicate that. Yeah. And the second thing I would say is to have a really good inner circle. You know, for me, starting out, it was really hard. I felt lonely a lot of times because, yeah, like, you know, like I said, I never had that opportunity as a young adult to go through music school and music education in university or colleges as a young adult. So I never had that network to begin with and depend on throughout my learning. So if you have that, lean on that, right? Like people that you trust in your circle, and yeah, because you will face times where it's challenging and you will doubt yourself. You know, that whole imposter syndrome is a very
Mm-hmm.
weird friend that kind of sticks around all the time, and tends to, you know, always influence your mind. And it's just really important to have even just, you know, one or two people that you can really talk to. I think that for me at least, these are the two things that I think are very helpful starting out: having education training in marketing, and then having that inner circle that you can talk to.
That's great advice. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So let's kind of go into stuff that you've actually put out and worked on. Kind of what do you like to do? What genres do you like to work with? Who do you reach out to? All of that kind
Mhm.
of stuff.
Sure, yeah. I genres I like to work with. That's a great question, because I don't see myself as a musician that sticks to one genre, and I think because of my where I'm at right now, I'm just at a point where I'm learning. I'm still learning, and I think everything's cool. So, um, but I would say that for now, in the past couple years, I've been focusing mostly on songwriting. And just last year, for somehow my songwriting, because I entered my song into a songwriting competition by a children's choir, the Grand Prairie Boys Choir, and it was the winning song. And so that whole experience of, you know, writing a song for children and then winning the competition for a boys choir to perform and premiere the song, I was like, oh, this is interesting. You know, I can use my songwriting skills to write for choir. And that's what I've been doing. I've been doing it mostly for children's choir, having networked and talked to choir directors in Grand Prairie. It seems like sometimes they have a very hard time finding children's music to learn and sing and, you know, put out concerts. So I took some time to understand what they were, you know, like looking for music. And every choir director is unique, and, you know, for what they want for their concerts and for their children to learn. And so then I've just been, yeah, like, you know, working with them, and it's been very fun. Writing children's music is always fun. It kind of brings out the inner child in me, which I love.
Yeah.
I think for a long time, with life and trying to survive as an immigrant in the West, and then motherhood, I think I felt a little bit lost at some point, of who I am, my identity, and just coming back into writing children's music and having choirs perform it. It's just been so rewarding to relive those yeah emotions and experiences and childhood stories that I can bring in song for others to sing. So that's been very, very fun. And on the side, I do work on my own music to record. I dream big, but one day I'm gonna put out my EP.
Nice.
There's still songs that are living in my notebook here that needs
Come
to
out.
come out. Yeah, I know. I was like, when are you putting out your album? I'm like, I don't know. But I've been procrastinating. It's a lot of work. It really is.
It is.
And as an independent artist, like I said, when you don't have a team behind you, you have to plan the marketing part of it, because it's just so saturated now in the online world, the music industry. And if you don't take some time to think about how you're going to tell your story with this song or album that you're going to put out, it can get lost in it,
Mm.
right? And then it spirals, and then you're like, oh, why am I doing all this work for? There's you know yeah. So it's good to learn about the definition of success. I would say that as a composer, like you say, every composer is different,
Hmm.
stories. And I think once you know what success means to you as a composer, then you can really focus on the stuff that you need to do.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, so that's what I've been doing. So
Yeah. I feel like also with everything that we have to think about and balance, you do kind of have to pick what you're going to work on for a while. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because you can't do it all at once.
yes,
You
yes.
can, but it will take a lot longer.
Yeah, and you will burn out, right? And I've
Yeah.
been there before, and I've been more mindful for sure of taking on projects that mean something to me. And of course, when I first started out 4 years ago, I felt like I needed to do everything. That was not very good. Let's just say. Yeah, so definitely, taking it's okay to pick, ones that are meaningful to you, and that you can spend your time and energy with it, and make it work. Yeah, it's very important.
In your experience, what has been the best way of finding work and finding projects and reaching out to people? What's been the most effective way of doing that for you?
The one thing that's been most effective is networking. Yeah, it's. I have to say, as much as I do a lot of cold pitches, like just sending emails and hoping somebody would, like notice my work and stuff like that. But I think networking is a really big one. And whether you try to network online or in person, starting those conversations with people is helpful. And uh, I know sometimes we go to events and stuff like that, and we don't really know how to say, like, I'm looking for work, right? Like it kind of, so, and that's where we kind of route back to that point of learning how to communicate your brand and yourself. I think it's very important to learn that, because you have situations where you network in the music industry, but I find that for me, most of my work comes from outside the music industry. It's very interesting. Like, I'm talking to a parent, or I'm talking to, like, my physiotherapist, and they're like, "Oh, and you do music, I know so and so that says, like, you should reach out to him." Like, you'll never know those little connections that come back to you. And for me, it has been from people outside of the music industry that somehow I've gotten connected to a group, or somebody that's inside. Yeah, so I would say networking is a huge one.
Mm,
I know for me, I'm an introvert, so I find it's very daunting too, like, to be able to like talk about myself, or in a
Yeah,
situation, a room full of people, that you need to really figure out how to present yourself. Like, that's very daunting.
it is.
Yeah, and it takes practice, I would say. It takes
Yeah.
practice and takes that courage to just say, yeah, I'm just gonna try it, and it works, right? People like to see you in person, and or see you online. I've connected with people online in workshops. That's a really great place too. So yeah, investing in those, I think it's
Mm. That made me think of the fact that, like, I feel like we're so shy and embarrassed as musicians to be like, "Yeah, I am looking for work," all the time, actually. But the thing is, most people don't know people who actually write music as a career, and people find it very cool because it's so different from what other people usually pick, so we should
yeah,
probably just remember that too, is, like,
yeah,
it's kind of a unique career to have, and amongst each other and ourselves, it
yeah.
feels very saturated because we see what's online, but other people, I don't know how many composers live in the same town as you, realistically, like, probably not very
Oh,
many, you know?
I think lots.
So oh,
But we'll
well,
see.
that's fair. But in terms of, like, if you were to go out and talk to people all day, the likelihood of you running into another composer is very small compared
True.
to other professions, you know what I mean?
True.
Just because
Yeah.
it is saturated to us, but to the outside world, it's not. It's like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, you're an adult that does composition as your career, that's really cool," you know?
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we have those connections more of like a longer term, quiet kind of in the background, like you say. So that's why most people don't really, yeah, talk about it, or think about it that way, right? Most people would say that, oh, you play music, like, do you put out a show? I'm just like, well, I'm not the performing artist, but I wrote that. Right, like it's just
Mhm.
one of those things where it's just the nature of it, that yeah. But I did, like I said in the workshop that I did for the women composers here in Canada, I said, you can talk about your work, like talk about it. And because the more you talk about it, like, people want to know more. So don't be afraid to spread your own rumors. Right,
I like
like,
that.
yeah, like, that you'll never know, where these trails of breadcrumbs will lead back to you, or lead you to something more. And yeah, so talk about it. And in fact, I think composers, we're a very yeah, like you say, niche kind of group of musicians, but in actual fact, people come to us for our artistic value, and skills to write something for their concerts that they're putting out. So you're in fact like a consultant almost, if you think about it, right? In the,
That's
in the
true.
music, you're kind of like a consultant. So, like, really own it. And I think, like, that would really make a difference when you
Mm.
tell your story.
If you could give, like, a starting point in terms of, like, helping people figure out what their story is and how to talk about themselves, whether that be something they practice, something they write, what would that thing be to start with?
So you mean like how to start telling their stories?
Yeah, yeah, because you've talked a lot about knowing how to communicate what you do and how to talk about yourself
Mm-hmm.
and being, I guess, not even confident, but just knowing how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the first step that you would say to getting there?
I would say, um, start with having a really good bio. Like, write it out, speak it out, practice talking about it. And when we think of a bio, often we like to, of course, we share, our accolades and our achievements and our education and all of that. But I think what I meant by story is, why do you do what you do, or why did you choose to learn writing music, right? And I think that's the key. Like, each of us have this life experience, I would say, that draws us to music, and what we can learn from is looking at bios of artists, performing artists, and you can tell like different performing artists, there's just so many different genres, so many different styles and characters and personalities, and that's how they connect with the audience, that they, you can't connect with everybody like that. That's just the plain reality that I've, the hard way I've learned it. You just can't connect with everybody. But if you know your, this is the kind of writing that I do, the kind of music that I am, the kind of personality I am, the right audience will find you because they are connecting with your story, right?
Mm.
And that's really what matters. Like, you are trying to find the right audience for you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, don't try to reach like the whole world. It's gonna burn you out. Yeah. So
It's too overwhelming to
yeah,
start with.
it is, because when you start putting content out and then you're thinking, I need to get like more coverage and everything, but then you're not reaching the right audience, right? So that's where it gets overwhelming and tiring, and that's where we burn out. So if you stay focused on, okay, this is the audience that I'm reaching. Say if you write for classical, like I'm promoting to my classical audience, their age, their demographics, who they are, where can I find them, stuff like that. Say for me, I've been doing a lot of children's songs. I don't promote to the big commercial radios. Like, that's just going to burn me out, because they're not going to. I was like, this is not going to be part of my programming. I can't do anything, right? So knowing your audience is a very key point
Mm-hmm.
to hold on to, because it will keep you keep you in check and keep you
Yeah.
staying focused. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Do you have any specific works you've done that you want to promote or talk about?
Yeah, sure. Actually, next month I wrote two works for each for the girl choirs in Grand Prairie, Alberta. I used to live there for 8 years, so I work with the choir directors there, and they are premiering one song of mine this Saturday. And it's a pop inspired song that I wrote for the choir. So it's very fun. It's like an anthem piece and very uplifting, and I'm really excited for that. And I would say it has a modern twist to it, because it doesn't follow the traditional uh, choral writing that you would find in the repertoire. So I wanted to bring some sort of pop element to it, an original song that the older children can relate to. I mean, given the pop culture they're in right now and the songs that they listen to every day, so I thought that would be fun for them to learn.
Mm.
And then at the end of the month, May 30th, uh, there's another girl choir. I guess I should say the name of the choirs. The Peace Region Girl Choirs will be premiering a song called Orange Skies that talks about the wildfire disasters that we've been experiencing here. I don't know if you guys get it much, wildfires in the UK, but recent
I
years
don't think we get any because it rains too
it rains. Oh,
much.
we need the rain here. It's just so dry and hot, and I think we're expecting another hot season here.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, in recent years, it's just been elevating, and so the choir director Roseanne Mayer, she's looking for a fire theme piece for her concert, because she's doing the elements, wind, water, fire. And so I thought it would be cool to bring a story of an indigenous child losing their home to a wildfire. So yeah, a challenging piece, because it was written for 4 to 5 minutes of music, and it's for the senior girls to sing. And it starts off in two part, and it grows in intensity and complexity in the vocal parts and the sounds, all the way to a 4 part section. So yeah, it was really fun to write this piece. I've never written something like that before, so very excited to see that happen. And I guess I'll talk about the other one too, because I forgot to mention uh, the choir's name. So Louder Than Before is a pop inspired uplifting piece that's going to be premiered by the Grand Prairie Girls Chorus this Saturday in Grand Prairie, Alberta. And yeah, that's a really fun piece that the senior girls are also singing.
Cool. Is there anywhere people can listen to it online yet? Or
I will actually, so they will provide me with the videos and they will be up on my YouTube channel once they premiered. Yeah,
sweet.
the
Okay,
concert. So they will be on the YouTube channel. And then the sheet music will also be available for purchase on my website. So once these choirs premiere them, then they are available for any other choir to pick it up
amazing.
and perform. Yeah.
And I think by the time I release this, the Saturday one will be up then, probably.
Yeah.
So I'll
Probably.
link it in the episode description so people can find it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, or even just link it to my website.
Yeah.
They can find it there as well. And then yeah, last month actually the one that I sent you was another. Oh yeah, it was. I have had so music. I'm like having a brain fog here. It's the other one that I just released, and that's a commercial recording that I recorded and produced myself. So
Oh,
I'm really
cool.
proud of that. Is
Yeah.
a children's song called "Rain, Won't You Please Stop." And it's a very fun song of a child just being bored at home and wishing that the rain would stop so she could go outside to play. And this song originally was written for choir, and the girls Peace Region Girls Choir premiered it last year.
Hmm.
And so this year I thought, okay, I need to work on my production skills. So I took this song and I recorded, recorded singing myself, produced it, and yeah, released it. I released it on April 17th. So it is available on all streaming platforms. There's a lyric video that's available on my YouTube channel. So school children can sing along to it. So it's a very sing along kind of song that children can enjoy. And if choirs, children choirs, or schools would like to perform the music, there's also the sheet music available for choirs. Yeah.
I love the inspiration for all of your different pieces. I think they're really fun. And then the wildfire one, like that, sounds like it was, I don't know, all of the content for them sound very inspiring in terms of thinking of sounds and ways the songs could go and everything.
Yeah, I think it came about with the the wildfires that we've been seeing here. And I remember there was one that occurred in Jasper, Alberta, the Rocky Mountains. There's a town in the Rocky Mountains here, and they had to evacuate in the middle of the
Oh
night.
my gosh.
And I just remember seeing across social media like just pictures, and it was dark, right? And you have this orange like sky. And I just thought, oh my gosh, it must be so frightening for a child to be woken up in the middle of the night and saying we gotta go, and like why, young children just like why.
Yeah.
Where am I going? I can't imagine that. Yeah, it was a very heartbreaking for Albertans here, because Jasper is really known to be a beautiful place to go for families and travelers and visitors. And then it was destroyed in the parts of the town was destroyed in the wildfire. And so I was really inspired to bring that into the song. And also the choir director was like, she wanted a little bit of a like diversity in culture. So I thought to include, an indigenous kind of background to the whole song. So yeah, really excited to see that come to life.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen to it when it comes out. It sounds amazing. Cool. Well, I have reached the end of my questions. I don't know, is there anything else you wanted to talk about or cover?
No, I think that's great. I've really enjoyed talking.
Me too. It's been really nice.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, it's been nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for coming on today. Make sure to sign up for our newsletter, The Composer Studio, for a more behind the scenes look at composing, including a monthly newsletter with opportunities, news in the music industry, and more. See you in the next one.